Hey, footy fans, welcome to the Point of Difference Rugby League podcast. I'm your host, Dave, and today I've got an amazing guest on the show. He's one of the great Kiwis who's over at Balmain, two grand finals. We all love him. It's the one and only Gary Freeman, the Wiz. How are you, man?
Yeah, good. Very good, mate. Very good for a Friday. Had a pretty exciting couple of days. Went down to Origin, watched the Blues smash Queensland, so that was quite good. A lot of the Queenslanders that were down there watching it pretty upset, but most of the Blues supporters were great. But yeah, now things are going good, mate. I hope Christchurch is nice and warm for you.
Well, it's not too bad today here. The sun's out at least. It's been miserable since I was in the Gold Coast, where I actually got to catch up with you, which was fantastic. Yeah, the wind, she's blowing, man. It's freaking cold down here. The wind. I hate it. Oh, it's good stuff. So, what have you been up to, man? What are you doing with yourself these days?
Mate, I still work in the gaming industry, so I've been doing that ever since I played footy. So I look after all the casinos in Australia and New Zealand, and all the providers in New Zealand at the same time with a couple of other guys over there, and just do a couple of the major clients here. So just doing that. It's not too hard.
Wicked, man. Oh, that keeps you out of trouble, I'm sure. And
Sure about that one.
oh, good stuff, man. So yeah, so you are in Gold Coast now. You're living there and just loving the beautiful sunshine, I see.
Well, yeah, well, have a look at that. That's a bad winter's day.
Oh
Not a
my
cloud in
God.
the sky,
Yeah.
mate. Not a cloud in the sky. But yeah, look, we family moved up. All our other families up here, so we come here, and yeah, no, it's been fantastic, mate. It's I think the first 2 years it really rained every day. I thought, what am I doing? But I thought I've gone to another country. But no, it's been very, very good for us and the family, and it's just good to have everyone around.
Beautiful. Right, man. Let's rewind the clock back on the career of Gary Freeman. Let's go all the
Hope
way.
I can remember.
Where did you grow up, man? Like, I was in Auckland, but where'd you grow up? What was life like for you when you were just a young fella kicking around?
Oh, mate, look, grew up in Avondale first, in St George's Road there. Actually
Okay.
took my family back there and showed them the original three-bedroom fibro house that we used to live in.
Yeah.
I think my lounge is probably bigger than the whole house now. So, you know, uh, yeah, it was interesting times. Went to Choice Intermediate, and then we moved over to the North Shore and went to Rangitoto College over there. I think that's probably when I started playing first grade, is when I left Glenfield Greyhounds, which was a great little club to play for. And
Yep.
then Northcote Tigers come in, and they said, we wanted me to play there. And I went, yeah, sweet. So I'll give that a crack. And, the rest is sort of like history, mate. But yeah, there's the sort of what happened. Yeah, so when I was playing at the boys over on the shore, we had a really good club there, and I managed to meet a guy called Tom Conroy. But then he went to Northcote, and
Okay.
then they come a few years after that and asked me if I'd like to come and play over there. And then
Right.
what I wanted to do was like make the Kiwi side, but I thought I was fit. But then I met this bloke, Tom Conroy, and I went, oh man, I'm not fit. I met him at the gym, and I was like in work clothes, and I still remember him saying, "Well, when do you want to start?" And I said, "Yeah, sure, mate. I'll come back tomorrow. It'll be all good." And he goes, "No, no, no, we start today." And he was doing these sit-ups on a medicine ball on a 45-degree angle, and throwing the ball to some other lunatic over the other side, and then I don't know how many we did, but it took me about 3 days to walk properly because my guts were so sore from doing these stupid sit-ups with Tommy. But he actually probably made me into the player I was
Okay.
as a as a mentor and a guy you could go to and trust and talk to him about what was happening and all the rest of it. Um, I still remember they rang me up one day and they said, "Oh, they just read the paper. You better bring some headgear." This is I was playing against City Newton. They said they're just
Yeah.
going to take my head off, and I said, "Oh, geez, that's exciting. This is going to be a really good game." But Tommy, he just said, as being a young guy coming in the team, he just stay cool, don't lose your cool, which he told me a few other games I would have been okay too. But yeah, scored a couple of tries I think that day and got man of the match. So all good for City Newton. But yeah, so he sort of got me at Northcote Tigers, trained me, looked after me, showed me how to probably get to where I had to get to, and that was fitness level, weights, sit-ups, all the different training, train early in the morning when other people weren't training. And I even took that into my career when I went to Balmain. I even trained on Christmas Day every time. I always run between 8 and 9 Ks on a Christmas Day.
Okay.
Yeah, just I actually thought I'd run to my father-in-law's place, Reggie, who played for the Kiwis, and thought it was only just down the road in Australia. And I think an hour and a half to nearly 2 hours later, I was still running.
Well, as a runner, I'm guilty of that.
I just jumped straight into the swimming pool and grabbed the beer. I went, that's it. I'm not doing any more training today.
Oh, that's madness.
32 degrees too. Oh, it was up, but he always believed in me. Believed I could play for the Kiwis. Always trying to train me as how you should train. And one thing you do learn though, when you do go away and you play with those players, you when you come back to the club footy, you start to see things so much clearer and so much quicker because you're so fit that things are just happening in front of you, and you're actually predicting what's going to happen where and when on the field. So that was one of the big things about going to Northcote, that I met a bloke like him that actually we're still best of the mates now.
Is that what people mean when they say the game slows down? Like when you get experience and you're that fit and you just like everything around you just seems a bit slower than say a rookie who comes into top grade and they're just like overawed by the whole experience.
Well, when you're a rookie, I find that you run in and you just try and do everything. And whereas as a senior player, and you see all these players now that, they've got time, and time is everything. I think if you look at Cliff Lyons, he was probably one of the best at that. Steve Menzies, played outside Cliffy Lyons for years and years and years, and just ran into holes. If you went too early on Cliffy, he gave a short ball. If you went too late, he went long, or then he'd throw a dummy and go himself. Like he just had plenty of time up his sleeve to do things. You try and cut that time down, but sometimes you nearly shoot yourself on the foot at the same time. So I actually learned that more when I went to the Roosters about controlling the game, the kicking game, and after leaving Balmain with so many great players and trying to spread it around. You sort of like tend to go, okay, someone's got to take control and it's got to be me. So I really learnt that, pretty much 92, 93 at the Roosters, mate, and had it on after that.
Okay. So also while you're at the Northcote Tigers, you played in the 87 grand final and you got the win. Is that right?
Yeah. We won that. That was when I announced to the boys I was going to Balmain, and they all thought I was a lunatic. Because of Scott Gale, great player. And then the week before we played Mangere in the semi-final, and I think we beat them. And then I can't remember who they played the following week, but they won that game. We had to play them again. And I think we only got away with the game with a couple of points, but Keith Lawson was our chairman at that stage, and great man, did a lot for me, a lot for players, did so much for the game that people just didn't understand. But he was sort of like leading the way to players training and being paid and all the rest of it. So he was tremendous, mate. He actually started me off in the selling game because, believe it or not, I was actually quite quiet. I wasn't as vocal as what a lot of people thought I was. But it's as you get older that you actually start to loosen up. You might say I may have loosened up probably a little bit too much. But that's okay. I think people remember that.
Oh, brilliant.
You've got to have good people around you to be successful.
Yes.
And that starts at the home front, with the family and all the rest of it. If you have them, and they keep you grounded, because sometimes you might think you're a big-headed sometimes, but they actually keep you grounded when you come home and you realise what life's all about is when you come back in the front door after playing or training for 3 or 4 hours. What you've done from 7 o'clock to 10 o'clock in the morning, training on a Saturday at Bondi or over at Cronulla, and takes an hour to drive there or whatever the case may be. And then you come home, you got family and all that sort of stuff. It just puts things in perspective, I would say.
Yeah, you got to have that family around you because, they're like the unsung heroes in people's careers. All the parents who get down to footy every weekend and run the raffles and and do the barbecues and wash all the jerseys and take you to training and chuck a
Uh,
ball around with you in the backyard. All of that stuff,
yeah,
it's so
I,
important.
I remember at the Blockhouse Bay Cougars where they used to have they used to bring a plate to the
Yeah,
presentation,
yeah.
and we were living at St George's Road, and my mum mate used to make these beautiful scones with jam and cream on them and all the rest of it.
Oh,
You wouldn't believe we were rushing to get in the car, me and my mate, and we dropped the frigging scones, and so we got all the grass off them, put them all back on. We just said to each other, just whatever you do, don't eat those ones. Just eat everyone else's food and just leave those ones. We had to take it. It was too late. So look, the Cougars is where I started off, Blockhouse Bay Cougars, and
yeah,
from then went over to the Glenfield Greyhounds, and then over to Northcote, and then up to the Tigers, and the rest is history, mate. Yeah, but yeah, those days I still remember getting beaten by, I think, the Richmond lads, 60-0 and 70-0, and we were good
yeah.
at the kickoffs, very good at the kickoffs. We just
Nailed the
couldn't
kickoff.
stop them from running.
Just forgot the tackling part. Oh, brilliant.
I don't know who was more scared at the game, with the referee or us. I'm not too sure, but I think it was pretty much us at the end of the day. But yeah, but you know what? It's a great learning curve when you're young and you're smaller, and you've got to be able to do things a little bit different. And when you get to that 16, 17 age, that's when everyone starts to mature a little bit quicker, and all
Yeah.
that sort of stuff. So you got to be a bit fitter, and that was just to get away from people.
Oh, brilliant, man. Brilliant. What was it about the game that made you want to keep coming back and play every week?
Look, I used to go to all the test matches, watch New Zealand versus Australia, Great Britain, France,
Yep.
back in those 70s and all that sort of stuff. And going there when there was, 19, 20,000 people at Carlaw Park, standing side by side with everybody, but everyone watching the Kiwis play, wanting them to win, went close on a few times and won a few. And just, I just got a passion for the game, where it was positioned back in the 70s and early 80s, and then when I come in late 88, there was something inside me that wanted to be a rugby league player. I know that a lot of guys wanted to be the All Blacks, but I think a different set of skills that I thought might be beneficial for rugby league. But it was a game that I just loved playing, mate. It is, you've got to put yourself up against the best to be remembered as one of the best. And I was lucky enough to get a shot over here in Australia and give those guys a bit of a crack at the same time.
Yeah, absolutely did, man. And would you say footy came naturally to you when you did start playing? Because you played halfback at such a high level, but where did it all start?
Well, I started playing at Blockhouse Bay Cougars first.
Okay.
Not, when you're young, you can't remember a lot of games. It's not till you get to about 14, 15 where you play against sides like Ponsonby and the boys from Otahu, and when you're getting beaten 60 points to nil, it was a little bit daunting sometimes. The lads here were quite big and strong, but I just had that passion that I just keep pushing forward. Get myself to a level of fitness that could get me through. So I did that, and I come out the other end. But there's always trying times. I wasn't one of those guys that was naturally picked for many rep sides. Well, in actual fact, I got picked for one.
There's a stat for you.
So when I look back at my career, and I look at some of the guys I played with who, got selected for their under 15s, under 17s, under 21s, all those reps. I never made one. But I think I made it was the under 13s, Auckland underside. And I made that team. And then I think to about 1982, 83, that was the next time I actually made a rep side. So it's a long time before drinks, mate. Yeah. So I just felt that I could play it. I needed a little bit of luck. that probably happened after, I think, Clayton, friend who was a champion player, he went to North Sydney, and then
Yep.
it opened up the halfback spot in the Auckland side. Um,
Right.
and then that gave me an opportunity to play for Auckland and then play senior football on a more regular basis. So did that. So I've probably got to thank Clayton for that. Thanks, mate.
Shout out to you, Clayton.
Mate, great player. He had Ding Bell on the sides. Owen Wright was there. Played against some great blokes back there that played for the Kiwis too. But Clayton was a guy that I loved playing against, like even Shane Varley and all that sort of stuff. They were the guys that, when you looked at the Kiwi side and they were in those sides, you say to yourself, what do you have to do to be as good or better than them? And that's what I used to always take out at watching someone else play. What are they doing? What I'm not doing, and then try and work that out.
Okay. So what was that Auckland comp like, when you did step up? You're only a young fella running around with these seasoned, hard men, that Auckland comp was serious, plenty of Kiwis running around. Like, how'd you find that, man?
Scary.
Yeah, your little white fella against all the Polynesian boys.
Mate, and I think that's where I probably got a bit cheeky at the same time, because I got myself to, I think, a level of fitness that a lot of other guys didn't get themselves to, especially back then the forwards weren't as fit as they are now. That's just how it was. But I remember playing against Doug Gailey, and he played for the Kiwis. He was one tough hombre, and he went to make a tackle, but his arm only moved about that much. It just went straight over the top of my head, and I ducked, and I went, wow. Well, welcome to first grade. I better duck a little bit quicker, I think, sometimes. But to play against guys like him, and then other ex-Kiwis that were in that competition, mate, it was a tough comp, mate. You got to remember when Great Britain or Australia or France played after the last Test match and they played Auckland, it was always a brutal game, really brutal game,
And also, like, Auckland would beat international sides kind of regularly back then. Imagine running around against those blokes as a provincial comp.
Well, there was a lot of Kiwis in those sides. The guys could easily have played, a number of games for New Zealand or come over to play in Australia or England and, all that sort of stuff. But there was always a good, strong team. The Auckland side always competed, I think my memories is watching the Amco Cup games, when we got those videos back home to watch or was on TV, mate. They competed all the time, mate, always.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic. So that led you on to going over to the UK, like 1983. You played for a club I'd actually never heard of called Kent Invicta. And then you went on to Castleford Tigers. So how did all that happen, man? I'd never even heard of them.
Mate, I think there was about 6 ex-Kiwi guys that played for Northcote and Te Atatu. And we went over to play that side, Kent Invicta. Mate, it was so funny because it was on a soccer ground at the same time, and the guy that owned the club, I think he had a radio station or radio record station, something like that. Anyway, back in those days, and he had a pet piranha. He's not supposed to have it, but then he went away over to France or something, come back, and the poor thing was dead because it's got to be like a warm water, and I think the power went off and froze it to death. So. But he took us there one night, we're having a beer, and he said, "Watch this." He put the thing in him, and it just went like this. Oh my God, I'm not putting my finger in there. So, Terry O'Shea was there from Te Atatu. Mark Elia played that side. Graham Norton was there. Myself, Tommy Bishop's boy was there. It was a good little side. We'd have to travel up to 3 hours, 4 hours to play a game of footy and a train, and there were interesting times. And there was a guy there, his name was Steve Lane, and he played 5'8" for us. Very good player. Come out of the Castleford Yorkshire competition. And he said, "Look, mate," he said, "I think you'd be better off going to Castleford than play in this team." So he rang up Malcolm Reilly and said, "Got a kid here, give him a shot." And then went up there and played under Malcolm Reilly, which was
nice.
Well, scary.
Scary. He was a beastly player back in the day.
And you've got to be scared. Like Malcolm Reilly was one of those guys that if he told you training was on, training's on. It's not like
Yep.
you don't have to be there. You have to be there. I
Yep.
remember one of the young kids, mate, Malcolm's temper back then was probably a little bit shorter than a lot of people realise. And the player just said, Malcolm, he said, look, I'm not playing. I'm not training. It's been snowy and all that sort of stuff. Malcolm just picked him up and threw him straight through the door. And I was actually sitting next to Kevin Ward. You know how big Kevin Ward was,
Oh,
right?
well,
Big
he's
front
massive.
row, big man. I said, Kev, what do we do? He says, put your boots on, lad. Put your boots on. So he wasn't going to say anything. And the other guy got through the door. Mate, I was first out the door. I'm running like this. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
No. Yeah, mate, scary. Mate, he actually played a game. I think we played Peter Sterling, who's at Hull. And then Malcolm ran on the field. And you could actually hear the crowd go, Really's here. Really's playing. Like, I think they were terrified. I was terrified. Everyone was terrified what he was going to do. But, mate, yeah, good man. Great coach. Just demanded perfection all the time, mate. Yeah, but he's one of the great players, and I've watched some of his older games. Thank God I played after he finished. That's for sure.
Yeah, man. I remember Mark Graham said that he played for Auckland against might have been a Great Britain side or something, and he came up against him, and everyone just got beaten up by Malcolm Riley. Real freak
scary.
out,
Scary. Some of the stories you hear about, I think that Manly grand final when he did his leg and he's walking off the field and he's just whacking blokes. What's going on? Imagine doing that nowadays. My God, people have heart attacks.
Oh, mate, there was almost a punch thrown in State of Origin the other night. I almost got excited.
Look, the game has never been better to play and safer for all the players. There's always going to be accidents in the game. There's always going to be someone who's going to get hit high by the way they step, the way they run, the way they tackle. It's just the nature of the beast. But the rugby league had done a good job. It needed to change, and it probably changed when I got over here, mate. It wasn't that crazy anyway. But I think in those 60s and 70s, I think that's when it was loose. But now I think the players know what's at stake. There's so much money involved. But some of them are getting. It's interesting now watching the referee Calvin Klein on Wednesday.
Yeah,
how little penalties were given, and then when Cherry Evans got taken out, no penalty, no one in the bin. Just move on, get on with the game. Like we've probably sanitized it too much sometimes, to the nth degree now that anyone who makes a late tackle anywhere moving from this day forward. They just put their hand up and said, well, mate, go back to State of Origin. You didn't send him to the bin. You didn't put him in there, or you didn't do this. Latrell pushes over the fullback in the back. 9, 10 out of 10, he gets penalised all the time.
Yeah.
So I think they'll probably open up a can of worms there because people remember that. And then if they start getting people sent to the bin, I'll be bringing it up on SEN. Trust me on that.
Absolutely. What about Liam Martin patting whoever it was on the head and then get to set for 10? Like, what the heck?
I think he actually just warned them. He warned them in the tackle previous. He said, anyone does next, I'm going.
Right.
So he actually warned. I didn't have a real major issue. They probably didn't need to go to the bin, but it's sort of like it just changes the way the game's played. And no one goes out there to do anything silly nowadays. It's not like that anymore.
It's good times. So did you you only did the one season over in the UK? Is that correct?
Yeah, mate. There was I played a cast, and then they offered me to go back actually, but then there was the Kiwi side were getting selected in 86, so that would have been 83, 84. So it would have been 85. I had to come back and play, and so playing there, then coming back and playing, you can't recover. Well, I couldn't anyway back then. So then I just made a decision that, if I'm going to make the Kiwis, this is what I have to do. Then played virtually the whole year for Auckland in 85 and then 86. Mate, you remember they had the possibles and probable trials?
Yeah.
Remember those? Yeah, so
I do.
I used to go and watch them all the time. I go, God, I thought I'd be good enough to be out there. And played a one and played well and then got selected for the Kiwis after that.
Beautiful. So That was when you actually went on to play the tour of Australia and Papua New Guinea,
Yep.
and you played the second test against the Kangaroos,
Yep.
starting alongside Olsen Filipina in the halves. I mean,
Champion.
how special was that to play alongside Olsen?
Champion,
But
mate.
to pull on your first Kiwi jersey and represent your country like that has to be what dreams are made of.
Oh, I think every player gets an opportunity to play for their country. It's your first game or your 50th game. It's an honour because you're representing not only your country, but your family at the same time. And that's the way I approached it. You know, I'm out there playing with thousands and thousands of people watching and my family. So you don't want to have a bad game. But having Mark Graham, Kurt Sorensen, Owen Wright was there. Olsen, the play in that team, Dane O'Hara, Gary Kimball, Dean Bell, just to name a few of the ones, Mark Graham, I still remember that when they selected me, I thought they were joking.
Really?
I thought, because he said, we're going, I think Graham Lacy said, number 7 is going to be Gary Freeman. I went, oh, yeah, okay, sure. I thought I'd cover it, right? And then they said, hurry up, get on the bus, we're going training. And I'm like, anyway, I went, right, so I trained, but you don't want to make a mistake. You want to play the best game of your life. And I remember Mark Graham coming up to me, and I was looking for inspiration, just in case anything was going to go wrong. He'd had a smoke out the back, come out, and then he goes, oh, listen, mate, he said, just don't be a one-test wonder. And then just turned around and walked away from me. I went,
thanks, Mark.
Jesus, that's a good one. How good's that? And then Graham Lowe comes up to me and goes, Gary, come here. Come here, Raffles. I said, oh, yeah, what's up? He said, mate, come here. And he grabbed me, put his arm around me, looked at the mirror. He said, look at your face now. He says, it's never going to be the same after this game. I went, what the frick? I'm not going to a boxing match or a rugby league game. I poo my pants. I was going, what the hell? Mark Rose said, just walked off, left me standing there. I went, sweet. But the interesting is when you play at that Sydney Cricket Ground in the old stands, you're actually where the bar is, where you're getting changed where the bar is. And then you walk down in front of everyone and you run. Right. So, it was a special moment, great moment. Loved it, and you'd never forget it. You never forget your first ever test match for your country.
No, it's pretty hard, especially when you're playing against the likes of Wally Lewis and Peter Sterling as your opposites in the halves, and you've got superstars on your side. You've got all the guys you want their autographs from on the other side. Pretty amazing.
It's amazing when you do look at that side and what they had, the Aussie side, but we had an opportunity to beat them, but I think that game we lost 24-12, I think Olsen chipped over the top, but Wayne Pearce grabbed it and raced away and took the game out of it. Otherwise, it was going to be 18-12, I think, off the top of my head. But yeah, they did. I don't think I ever wanted their autographs. I was never one of those guys who went, oh, yeah. In the old days when I was younger, yeah, but when you got and played first grade, I didn't really want the autographs. I just wanted to tackle them just to see if they were made of steel or just like me and you.
Do they bleed red or what?
Yeah. They got red blood too. That's all good. I still remember, I think Kevin Tamati summed it up. He said, if I go out there and smash them, and then they're not that tough. But look, everyone's tough when they play footy, but there's certain levels and guys who come out in different areas, and he was a great player too, mate. Fantastic, absolutely fantastic.
Yeah. Now I've talked to some halfbacks who staying away from the contact, and others who loved it. Where do you rank on the spectrum of wanting to smash guys or tackle, or is it hide behind the front row? And where's Gary Freeman on that spectrum?
I'm all of the above. I tick all boxes. Just depends who it was. I think any halfback, if you think you could get a shot in, you did it. And then if there was any dramas, there's always someone bigger than you in your own team that you could stand behind and say something to the opposition. And I don't think that really mattered to where I played. It was just a case of, when you play for your country, you can't back away. It's not seen as the right thing to do. So I did it. I love it. So I think that's what sort of I thought to myself, if I can just get my game right and don't take a backward step, then at least they know where you stand.
Yes, absolutely. So moving on to the Papua New Guinea part of the tour, how incredible was it going to Papua New Guinea because that country is just mental, honestly. And they have such a cult following of rugby league over there. Like, just how crazy was it for you, man?
Mate, I had photos of the bus. We had a pink bus and it had cows on it. And that was the bus that took us around. It's crazy. I think Dean Lonergan drove the bus, I think, because
That's right.
the driver got blind. And then he went to sleep. And mate, we're going over, like back then, you could imagine 86. It's just a sheer drop. The road goes
Yep.
around the corner, and then just looking over there, oh my God, and the buses, you know, you had the seats going forward like this. They just had big long seats either side, so you're like looking at each other, and all the bags are at the back. I got all those
Really?
photos. It's just absolutely amazing. But yeah, it's a crazy. Their following is unbelievable, unbelievable. They walk for days. They come from everywhere. They just love their rugby league, and they've got better and better as the years have gone on with, the more Aussies and Kiwis going there to play and help them with their training and all the rest of it. But yeah, it was,
Yep.
mate, they were the days where spear tackling was like out of the 6 tackles, 5 of them were spear tackles.
They were solid people, eh? Like to actually like the
hard as.
physicality was crazy.
So hard. Tough, man. Oh my God. I think we played the Vipers and we lost the game against the Vipers or something.
Oh well.
Yeah, that wasn't good.
No, not for a test side or
No,
New Zealand
no.
side. So was there a story? I think Darryl Williams said there was a match that you actually called off. Was it on that
In
tour?
LA.
Because of
In
the
LA.
rocks on the park.
Yeah, yeah. No, it rained for about, I think, 3 or 4 days. And it rained that much that it was like mushrooms were growing, but they were rocks and they were coming out. So we went and trained there. And then we took this whole box of rocks and glass back to Lowy. I still remember it. And said, look, this is what's on the field. He goes, oh, we can't play there. And then they told us to be locked up in our rooms because we weren't allowed out because the locals were upset that we weren't going to play. But it was dead set. It rained. It was torrential. And it was like they were growing mushrooms, but they're actually rocks and glass that were coming out.
Oh, that's
Probably still
insane,
should.
man.
When you look back, we probably still should have played the game because
Right.
they travel from miles, mate, to go there, miles.
And yeah, there's just like no technology there, right? Like they just
No.
literally walk from villages from
Yeah,
days away with
yeah,
spears and bows and
yeah,
bones in their noses and stuff like that.
yeah. But mate, the nicest people to meet and love their footy, do anything for you. In that 86, I think it was 90, it might have been 93. They asked me to stay back for a day and took me out for dinner and all that sort of stuff. And then they said, "Oh, we want you to come play here." I said, "Oh, right." I
Okay.
saw how hard it was, man. I'm not playing there. It's too tough. Too tough, too scary.
You're too scary for me.
But
Oh,
mate, you
brilliant, man.
won't meet any nicer people that want to do anything for the game and make it the best for their country. That's the
Yeah.
sort of people they are, mate.
Oh, it's amazing. Do you reckon they'll get the next NRL side? That's what I'm curious to know.
Mate, I think the deal's already been done, mate. I think they're already locked away.
Okay.
I think the deal's been done. No one's saying it has been done, but the whispers you hear that there's the government's going to put up all the money.
Yep.
The time zone's good for TV and all the rest of it. I would love to see another team in New Zealand. I think we can
Yep.
certainly handle that. You look at the current Warriors side with the amount of Aussie boys that are in there and how many other Kiwis are playing over here that could
Yeah.
be in that side, but everything didn't line up for them. So I think if you're
Yeah.
starting off the team, you buy a few, senior players and bring them back, mate, a lot of the Kiwi lads would probably go back and play too.
Absolutely. Yeah, I've been sort of rubbing shoulders with a few of the people involved in the NRL bit over here, and it's all pretty exciting chat. But it's just whether that PNG bid goes through or not. It's very exciting times for NRL anyway.
Oh, mate, look, I thought what the Warriors had done in COVID was absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
I thought the way that they handled themselves, their families, the players, the whole thing. I thought the NRL should have let New Zealand get a state of origin, give something back to the game over there, have it in Wellington, have it in Auckland. It doesn't worry me.
Yeah.
But that's something I reckon the New Zealand Rugby League have got to now look at. If we can play it in South Australia, Brisbane, Sydney, go to Victoria, 90,000 people, mate. If we could get one in Auckland, mate, the Kiwis would love it. It would be sold out first day.
Absolutely.
Yep.
You wouldn't get a ticket. It would be impossible to get a ticket if you waited a day.
Yeah, mate, the Aussies wouldn't even get a start. How good.
It's like that. So speaking of Australia, 1987, you played off the bench in the famous win against the Kangaroos, where there's literally only a handful of you guys playing in Australia. And you stuck solid for the whole 80 minutes, picking up a 13-6 victory. How intense was that, man? Like one of the great wins.
I'll tell you how much I had to do with it. I think there was about 10 minutes to go in the game. Tony Gordon, who's passed, he was the coach, and I needed one more game for my 6 test matches, then to go and play in Australia. So on the 10-minute mark, I said, Tony, put me on. He goes, mate, we're winning. We're not making any changes. I said, put me on the wing or anything fallback. I don't care. Get me on the field. Because I'd already talked to Balmain and Newcastle about going to play there, and even St George.
Wow.
Yeah. So in 86, just go back a step. 86, St George made a phone call, and I went and met them. Went to their club. They showed me where I was going to stay. They gave me jerseys, all this gear, and I was going to sign with them in 86. But then because I only played 5 test matches, they wouldn't pay the transfer fee, which is 35,000 New Zealand dollars. So they didn't want to pay that, and you can understand why. And that's why I said to Tony, I said, get me on the field now. So I virtually started warming up without him even telling me to. So I just said, I'm going on. I don't care who you replace, get me on. So I had nothing to do with that win because I only played the last 10 minutes. So the boys, it was a great victory, mate. It was a tremendous victory to be involved in. But that gave me my 6 test matches. And then next minute, Balmain come along, and it was Newcastle, Balmain. And then I looked at the Balmain side and went, I think I should go there. I think that's a better option for me.
So did they approach you, or did you go looking for a contract?
No. They approached me. My father-in-law, Reg Cook, who played for the Kiwis in 61 to 65. Played centre. Come out of Hutley. And he knew Keith Barnes, and Barnes, he had spoken to him. And then he come and met me and said, look, this is what we want to do. 3-year deal straight off the bat, which was, to get a start in the comp back then, when there was only probably 4 or 5 Kiwis in the comp.
Yeah.
Mark Graham was 1, Olsen 2, Kurt. Dane, Mark Graham, probably there's 5 I can remember, and then Mark Elia come over, and Darryl Williams is at Manly. Probably say 10 players. I'd say 10.
Yeah.
So that was pretty special. It's pretty special to get signed there.
Absolutely, man. So were you nervous or just plain excited about the opportunity to finally play in the Australian Cup?
Oh, I think everyone's nervous, mate. You're nervous. I played against Block in 86 and slapped him in the face. So he was the first guy I met. So I wasn't too sure if he was going to punch me or say hello. Then there was Junior, and he played in that test match. Gary Jack was in that test match, and I looked at those players and went, oh my God, am I good enough? Can I make it? And then I think the first training run we went to was on Tuesday. It was when I just come back from England, it was about 35 degrees. I could hardly breathe. I could hardly run. I was like cooking. I was doing medium rare, I was going medium well done. I was going, what the? But then we had this run at Coogee, the Bondi run. Oh my God, the hardest run I've ever done in my life. I think even Fords beat me. That's when I knew I had to get myself into a level of fitness that would actually do something, So so I went and ran that run by myself for about a month every Saturday. Leave at 6 a.m, get there about 6:45, 7, run the run all by myself, then come back. And Yeah. That was just to mentally get myself right, get the
Yep.
training right, because we had to do that run again. So I didn't want to come last.
Yeah.
So,
Absolutely.
so if you come in last, then I come second. So that was better.
Not
Not second
bad.
last, second, not first and second. I come second. So that was a massive increase for me because I've got Michael Neal, who is one of the champion blokes you'll ever come across and toughest little guys ever. But he could just run. He was unbelievable, mate, unbelievable. And he's the only one that could beat me in the end. But yeah, he was a pretty special guy.
That's amazing. Like, were they quite accepting of you being a Kiwi? Would you have to really earn your stripes with the boys?
Oh no, I think any Kiwi that comes over here, you're always going to be tested.
Yeah.
They want to see how you fit in and what you're made of, and whether you'll stand up and be counted or you won't. The great Scott Gale, who's passed too, like he was in that side and one of the tremendous halfbacks. And I still remember playing the '87 grand final in New Zealand with Northcote Tigers against Mangere. And then after the game, I told the boys I was going to Balmain, and they just said, "You're off your head. You'll never make it." I went,
Well.
You don't think I can make it? They went, "No. Have you seen that Scott Gale play? He is unbelievable." I went,
He is
"Oh my God, have I
unbelievable.
made the wrong decision?" You start to doubt yourself. And then when I got there, Scotty had a magnificent season in '86 and '87, mate. God, he played good. But you've got to challenge yourself to be the best, and to do that, you've got to be better at training, your weights, your application to your game, all that sort of stuff. It took me, I think I played one first grade game, and then I had 12 in reserves. And then I made a conscious decision to go see the manager, Keith Barnes. And Barnesy, fantastic, man, fantastic. I just said to him, "Look, just give me 3 games in first grade. And if I'm no good, you can keep the contract, I'll move on. Don't worry about it."
Okay.
And
Really?
then he goes, "Oh, mate, I can't promise you that." So I went and saw the coach, and I said, "Look, mate, I'm better than the halfback you got there." So I just had to stand up for myself. I said, "Man, I'm better than him. He's useless. I can beat him." And he says, no. He does this and he does that. I said, "Mate, he might do that, but he's no. I'll still beat him." Anyway, I said, "Mate, just give me 1 game in first grade." And they went, "No." And I said,
"Oh, well."
Yeah, no. And I went to training Thursday night, and that was on the Tuesday. I went to training Thursday night. Then they named me in the side, and I played against Illawarra, got man of the match, and then I went missing for 3 weeks because I was playing for the Kiwis. So I get my start, and then I have to leave and come back and then refight for it all again. Oh my God, crazy. Warren was, he was in the end, mate. We got on fantastically at the start. I struggled because he was so in control and what to do. And I had a little book, and I was writing all the notes down, all my moves, where I had to stand, draw all these pictures. And I got the book one day. I said, "Mate, I'm playing so bad." I said, I got the book, threw the book away, and I just said, "Mate, if they don't like how I play, they just get rid of me." And then I just get depressed after that, which most players wouldn't do, but I did. I just couldn't be bothered. Just throw the book away and just play footy. And it was the best thing I did. Best thing I did.
Well, maybe it takes the pressure off, doesn't it? Because you're just thinking too much. Like, just play what's in front of you and just have some fun.
And I was all over the place. All over the place.
Yeah. Some players just need to almost have less foot on them and just play what you see. And like the superstars like yourself, I can think of Stacey Jones, Andrew Johns, there's your whole era was crazy good halfbacks.
Yeah, you mentioned a couple of great ones there, and I was lucky enough to play against all those boys. And throw in Craig Coleman, throw in Ricky Stewart, throw in Alfie, throw in Des Hasler in. Mate, every team, they would just put them on the conveyor line, the conveyor line.
I know.
Halfback, have it there. And the enjoyable part was playing against those guys because, my job was to keep them quiet. So in my own mind, Ricky was good to play against because he would fire up more than I would. So I'd always make a B for him at the scrum. He'd pick up the ball, long pass. I'd tackle him, say, "I'll see you at the next scrum, Ricky." I said, "Oh, man, just leave me." I won't say exactly what he said. "You just leave me alone." I said, "Yeah, I'll see you next scrum." And I'd get there and I'd annoy him and tackle him again and just drive him insane. Yeah, I did the same with Alfie too. So that was a bit of fun.
So good, so good.
Yeah.
I reckon I don't think there's a better generation of halfbacks, with so many. I think every club just about had,
Oh,
a player that could have played in the test side. It's
yeah,
crazy.
yeah. There were guys like he had Ricky and Alfie,
Didn't even
um,
say Greg Alexander or Brad
Greg
Fittler.
Alexander, but yeah, but they all play for Australia.
Yeah.
Des Hasler, there's four off the
Oh,
top of
Jeff
my head.
Toomey, Cliffy Lyons.
Yeah, oh, Cliffy Lyons, my God, what
Crazy.
a great player he
Brett
was.
Kenny, Peter Sterling.
Oh,
That's great.
when you ran out for the first time in when I was playing for Balmain, the first game, you run out and you look around the stadium and you go, oh man, don't stuff up. Don't make a mistake. Too many people are watching.
Way too many people. I don't know how you do it. So we get to the end of the regular season in '88, and you were tied for Penrith in fifth place. Back then, there was the top five final series,
Yeah,
and you had to have a playoff
yeah,
for fifth
Tuesday night.
place. Yeah, and you actually got a try, and you guys won to put you through to the finals. Do
Yeah,
you
there was
remember
off the
playing
scrum.
that?
Benny hooked the ball back, and I think Steve Carter had just gone to 5'8", and I think I stepped off my right and went past and scored only the post. If you
Yeah.
if you watch the replay, that's probably one of the maddest games I've ever played in. It was
Really?
Peter Kelly was elbowing blokes, kneeing blokes. If he did that now, he'd get 20 weeks. He'd get
Yeah.
life. He just wouldn't be playing the next 2 years. There's just no
Oh,
way.
yeah.
Mate, and John Cartwright was like, because on the I think 89 was the one where we had to beat them too. And that was, oh my God, I had a mate of mine ring me up and he goes, Wiz, he said, does anyone die in this game? I said, what do you mean? He goes, mate, oh my God. He said, I've seen this happen, this happen, this happen. Ciro's back, bashed Jeff Gerard, because he
Oh,
elbowed
wow.
him. Yeah,
Yeah.
elbowed him. And Ciro just turned around and just punched him straight in the head. So,
Oh,
and
yeah.
Mark Guy and I having like, why even? I look at that game, and my mate told me about it. It was on Fox, and I'm saying to myself, why would I even try and go up against Mark Guy? This is ridiculous.
It's me.
It's got me beat. I might have a screw loose back then. I don't know. Probably still do.
Just a fiery little Kiwi from Auckland.
No, I wasn't really. That was somebody different.
We're going with it with someone different. Yep.
Yeah. I don't think the people who watch us are going to believe us.
I don't think so. So you guys went on a nice hot streak. Ellery Hanley played out of his skin
Yeah.
during that final series,
Yeah.
and all of a sudden, Gary Freeman's playing in his first grand final in his first season in the New South Wales Rugby League.
Stupid.
How mental is that, man?
Mate, I couldn't believe that I think we had to win. We had to beat Penrith on that Tuesday night.
Yep.
Then we played, I think it was Manly.
Yeah, I think you played Cronulla somewhere in there as well.
They,
Was
they,
that
were
the
the,
same
they
year?
were the last game to get to the grand final.
Yep, you beat.
Um,
I've got it here. You got Manly,
yeah,
Canberra, and
and
Cronulla.
South. Yeah, Canberra. That's right. And so I scored virtually in every game except for the grand final.
Far
It's
out.
crazy.
Crazy.
I just the role that we were on, and that team were pretty fit blokes. I remember the kickoff in the grand final when we come against Canterbury, and they kicked it short to me. So I turned around
Right.
to pass it, so there's no one there, so I just had to run it up.
Oh, no.
Got smashed by Peter Tunks and Gillespie. Good start in the game.
Outstart
Well done.
massive. Oh my
Some
God,
it's
David
killed me.
Gillespie. Oh my God. No thanks.
But we lost Block because he got sent off in '88 against Penrith on that Tuesday night for
Yeah.
fighting, and he hit Peter Mortimer. I think he hit Louis Mortimer. He hit in the head.
Right.
Yeah, he hit him in the head.
Doesn't sound like Blocker at all.
Oh, he was unlucky. He was falling on the ground. We'll stick with that.
Yeah, we'll go with that. So you got to the grand finals, I said, 40,000 people,
Yeah.
80 minutes away from a premiership. Just how insane or how incredible was that atmosphere, the moment? Were you shitting yourself, like all of the above?
I thought we were in with a big chance. Excuse me. And I think if Block had played in that game, they probably don't dominate us as much. Kerry Hemsley stood up for me a couple of times, but they took Kerry Hemsley off early.
Okay.
When you look back at that game, it was the wrong thing to do because he could dominate. Like he was one of the big tough blokes. Like he was, he's great bloke, but tough, just scary. Yeah. Quick story about Kerry. We played Cronulla, and he sent the halfback in the Cronulla side, whacked him, and he goes, "Mate, don't ever do that again." He said, "I'll knock you straight out." So the guys give him a hard time. And next tackle, Carey gets up, puts a ball on the ground, doesn't even play it, grabs the halfback, boom. And he said, the ref comes, "What are you doing?" He said, "Mate, I told him, don't ever do it again." He did it again. That's the result. So,
Oh my God.
yeah, mate, just punch him straight in the head. Just, mate, yeah, he never did it again after that. But going back to that grand final, like up till we made one error, we missed a couple of tackles just before halftime when I think Elchin made the break down the right-hand side. And then they scored off that. Otherwise, we were in total control of that game too. And it was just that one error. I missed the actual tackle on Elchin. He stepped around me because I'll never forget it. I should have just slowed myself down. I would have been able to take him out. But I was just so worried about him keep going for the corner that I had him covered for pace. But when he stepped inside of me, it was a bit disappointing.
Yeah, because you were only down 10-8 at half time. So like in the balance, anything could have happened. Anything.
Yeah. Mate, in the end, we were just beaten up by the time we got there. 9 games straight. It was pretty tough. Pretty tough.
Yeah, you can only rely on momentum so long. And you coming from a sudden death playoff to then play sudden death every week in finals where the intensity clearly goes up. Like it's mental.
When you go back and you look at that game, there were moments there that we had opportunities to score tries. It didn't help that Ellery got taken out too.
He did, eh?
He got taken out. So that was a massive blow. And that was on that left-hand edge where they made their break, to their right, our left. So that he would have been in that position. I don't think they make that break. So all those things, you take into account. But in the end, the only thing everyone looks at now is the scoreboard, mate. And we were set.
Yeah. So what's the feeling like when the hooter goes off? Is it just like pure disappointment and like gut it is? Like, how do you feel in that moment?
Shattered, mate. You think yourself that whole season, everything that you put into it, coming to that last game, coming from where we did come from, it could have been a lot easier for us. Just little things just didn't go our way. But I do say though, I think if Block had played that game, I think there's certainly a different result.
Yeah, it's pretty unfortunate. But you're in a grand final. It's only year one in Australia. Still, 1989 rolls around, and I did see on your stats that you played 2 rounds for the Tigers, and then there's a huge gap between round 2 and 18 where you vanished, like from first grade. What happened there?
Now I got suspended. We played Newcastle, and I got suspended for 15 games. But what happened? The state of origin come into it. It was about 18 games.
Okay.
Yeah, so I actually talked to the New South Wales Rugby League. I went back to Glenfield Greyhounds and I played in just a charity match, just to raise money. Okay. So I had to get approval to do that. We weren't allowed to do anything. But mate, I trained every single day, twice a day for that whole year. The referee backed me up. Wayne Pearce backed me up. So the disappointing about that whole thing is that how they did it was a joke, absolute joke. So, and it affected probably more family members, my wife and mum and dad and the rest of the family, because people say some shit things to you sometimes. But I do know that when I did come back, Warren Ryan did say to me, he said, "Oh, we have missed you." I said, "Oh, thanks."
Yep.
And then I probably didn't speak to the media for that hot rest of the season. I didn't talk to any of them. I just brushed them.
Fair enough. Now, I don't actually know what it was for. You don't have to say what it was because I actually don't know.
No, I'll tell you, I really don't give a shit anyway. Because the thing that pissed me off about the whole thing was that I got done for eye gouging, and I'm the only player to ever be done standing up. So if you can work out how you can do it standing up, good frigging job. So I look at it like this. Bill Harrigan was a referee. He went up and supported me. And I don't know Bill Harrigan for a bar of soap.
Right.
So he supports me. Wayne Pearce goes up. Now, Wayne Pearce, his name in this game is at the highest level you can have, right?
Of course.
And he said to me, if I thought you'd done that, Wiz, there's no way I'd support you.
Okay.
Barnesy goes there, supports me, pays me for every day. He could have taken all my money off me. Nope. And he knew. But to have the referee go up and support you, you think, well, you're done. It's easy, right? Wasn't the way to be. I did get an appeal. So about 3 weeks afterwards, I had a bloke from, he was a solicitor, and I actually know he's a Crown prosecutor. That's what he was. And Mad
Okay.
Balmain supporter. And he come and looked at the thing. He went and had a meeting with the judiciary guys, and he said, "Oh, we're
Yep.
going to have an appeal on this, this, and this." They said, "Oh, no, you've got to supply new evidence." He goes, "If we go to court, you lose."
Really?
Yep. And then they allowed me to have an appeal, and I had an eye surgeon or an eye doctor come in, and these three old fogies, they just said, "You guys don't know what you're talking about." So I got the same amount. They didn't budge. And
Really?
I still remember what the Crown prosecutor said to me. He goes, "Mate, how far do you want to go?" I said, "I want to go to court. I want to clear my
Yep.
name. I'm sick of it." Because, mate, there's no way in the world, mate. It was on Mark Sargent, big front rower, and
Yep. I know him. Yep.
it actually elbowed me in the face, I think by accident. But back when you're playing, you think it's direct. So I was gonna take his head off. I didn't give a shit.
Yep.
And then and he just got pushed out of my way. And did I poke him in the eye? Most probably. Yeah, without doubt. No problems. But mate, I met a guy called Mark Braybrook who I caught some footy with. Anyway, he was at the case that night. And I'd never met Mark before at Fox Sports. And he just said to me, he goes, "Mate, that was the biggest load of crock I've ever seen in my life." I said, "Yeah, but I still I got hammered.
Yeah.
Hammered. Every other
Crazy,
player's
man.
got 22 weeks or 18 weeks, and they've all
Yeah.
been on the ground, all of them.
Yeah.
I'm the only one standing up."
Crazy. I didn't
So
know that.
people in New Zealand and people who write in the media, they had no idea what was going on, mate. So,
No.
yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay. So you did come back, and around 18, you got back in the side. And the Tigers went on an amazing run. You finished third on the ladder, and then you go into the playoffs again. I think you
Yep.
defeated Penrith and Souths on your way to another grand final. So
Penrith
what's it like
South.
this time around?
Yeah, mate. I still remember driving to the footy game, and people had the flags up all along Victoria Road leading into the club. There's
Wicked.
thousands of people at the club because we've got a bus from there to the ground. I've never felt so good for a game of football in my life. I just went, I'm
Yeah.
just trying to have a cracking game here. Got injured in about the 15th minute. Gary Boucher Sprigg went and straight through my thigh.
Ow.
Yeah, that hurt. But back in those days, if you were injured, they just pushed you over the side, just left you there. No one got to see if you were all right. They went, move on, put the scrum down, and away we
Get
go.
off.
I still remember Michael Neal come over and grabbed the ball off me. And then I don't think he even said to me, "Are you okay, Wiz?" He just went, "Got the ball, see you later, scrum in, move on."
She was a different generation back then, mate.
Mate, if you were down injured, bad luck. Just trample you. Just walk over top
Yeah.
of you.
There's none of this. It's okay to not be okay back then.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
just
yeah. No, it was like we had them like at full time when they scored that last minute try. Well, Bruce Maguire got penalised for using who was the hooker? Oh my god, I forget names sometimes. I am getting frigging old, aren't I? Anyway, Walters was the hooker,
Steve
and
Walters was
yeah,
Canberra
yeah,
hooker.
and Bruce Maguire used him as a shepherd allegedly, not in the spirit
Okay.
of the game. I just think Bill actually put his hand up the wrong way, to be honest with you. And if we kicked it out, the game's over. There was only like, I think, 60 seconds to go in the game. And
Far out.
he scored with 32 seconds to go.
Oh, and it was a crazy try, eh?
Yeah.
Crazy.
But
So what about the first half? 'Cause you guys got off to a rip-roaring start.
yeah,
James Grant scores off a loose Brent Todd ball,
yeah, yeah.
and then Paul Sheridan scores one of my favourite grand final
Oh,
tries of all time.
awesome.
So good.
Yeah,
So good.
yeah,
I love that try. And
yeah.
what's the feeling like on the field going into half time? You got a pretty handy 10-point lead.
Mate, everyone was pretty focused. Like everyone was like, the biggest thing about those big games, you don't really say a lot. Oh, well, we didn't back then because you just want to make sure you get through that half and get through half time and then get in the game and just win the game, then say some things. You don't want to say too much. And I remember Ricky and I having a bit of a conversation out there. And it's the first time I went, you know what? Don't say anything. Don't say anything. I just pointed to the scoreboard like that. That's all I did. So that was, that was the only time I just went, you know what? Don't say, just, I want to win the game. I was so focused on winning that game. But even when they did their drop goal, we already planned what we were going to do. We're going to set it up that Benny was going to give me the ball, the drop goal. But then we made a mistake, and then they had a scrum. They did a drop goal, and then Steve Jackson scores that last try in the last 5 minutes or something like that.
Yeah, that try.
Thanks for bringing that up. Fantastic.
Fantastic try. If you're just an unbiased supporter, unbelievable try. Definitely gone down in history, that one. And I had Bradley Clyde on last week, and he's chatting about the winning side of the coin. But mate, it must have been tough watching Steve Jackson go over for that try.
Oh, far out, man. All I remember at the end of the game, I walked over to shake Brent Todd's hand, and he shook my hand, and then I just walked off. I went, no, I don't even watch him be so excited. I was so disappointed. And then the worst thing was, because we had a tour of England and France in '89. Right. So I had to go jump on the plane and travel 27 hours by myself. It's fantastic. The next day I'm on a plane, just sitting there by myself for 24 hours on the plane, then get the Heathrow, get a train into King's Cross, get a train from there up to York where we're staying, then get a cab from there straight to the hotel all by myself. I'm just sitting there going, I rang up the manager, said, mate, is anyone going to pick me up? Oh, no, they're already gone for a beer. I went, oh, fantastic.
Yeah, thanks.
I feel terrific. I've been traveling for 2.5 days. Anyway.
Good to see them looking after their star halfback.
Oh, golly gee.
Oh, you poor fella, mate. So moving on to a more positive experience.
They're all positive, mate. There's no negatives in this game. It's just how you come out the other side. You can dwell on. I still remember Block when I had that suspension. He looked up at me, and I was training all by myself because I'm doing ball work, and I was doing some stuff on the hill. And then he goes, "Where's? Just go home, mate. Go home. You got 10 more weeks." I said, "No." I said, "I'm going to come back that fit, ready to play, that I don't miss a beat." So
it's that kind of attitude that makes you the legend that you are, because even when the chips are down, you're still like giving 120% to make sure that first game back you're fizzing. I
couldn't. I didn't want to let myself down, but I didn't want to let them down. You know, for what Junior did and Barnesy and all the rest of the people that supported me, I don't want to let them down. So there was a big for me. It was just like, get yourself right, get ready to play, and have the biggest games you've ever had, because you've been missing for such a long time.
Oh, mate. Awesome attitude. It's good. So moving on to a very positive experience, though, the famous 1991 victory over Australia. You were captain.
Yeah.
Dean Lonergan goes down early in the game.
Oh, Dino.
He's, far out. He gets up and carries on playing. What the hell? What a freak.
I saw that about 3 years ago, and Dean's laying there like this, his arms are up in the air like this. I was going, mate, how the doctor let him even back on the field?
I don't know. I didn't realise he'd actually carried on playing. So I had a Mossy Kaloto on the podcast.
Oh, yes, back. Yeah, Mossy. Yeah.
He played in that game.
Yeah, he did too.
I was like, what the hell? Dean Lonergan, he went down. You guys were playing with 12 men for a bit, and then he just rejoins the team and carries on. He's like, it's what we did back then.
Mate, it's just,
wow.
But that's probably the worst head to the head I've seen, where someone sort of gone like into a spasm sort of thing. He was.
Yeah, it's like a seizure almost.
Yeah, he was just like shaking. And just give him that smelling salts, get him back up, get in there, son. Get in there. You won't have any problems in your life. I think Dean was telling me when we were back to Auckland, and they went out to have a beer in a nightclub, and they were all doing the Lonergan, laying on the ground going like this.
Oh, mate, you're killing me. Oh, that's gold.
Imagine that. Let's all do the lolling and the lay down. Oh, my God. You couldn't think of anything funnier, could you? Oh.
Oh, mate. Oh, I love it. What a game, though. What a game. Clayton Friend, I think, scored a try. The Sean Hoppy on debut, and Jared McCracken got a
Yeah,
try.
Crackers had a great game. He was
Wow.
unbelievable. Tawa Nikau was there.
Yeah.
Peter Brown was in
Just,
that side at the same time. Yeah, no, that was a great experience because we were supposed to get beaten by 40. But
yeah.
the next two games we did get beaten by 40, so that wasn't good. Yeah, the Aussies changed, I think, 7 of their players in that game. I think I'm pretty much right there. And then
Yeah.
they put all these young guys in. Laurie Daly, average player that just turns up and
Yeah, you're
plays
pretty
30
average.
odd games.
Barely had a career.
Oh,
Mate.
yeah, they did make a lot of changes. I think that was Wally Lewis's last game,
It was.
Blockel's last game. Just to mention a few, Hoff was the fullback at that stage. He got replaced. So
Yep.
yeah, they just were on the axe and got rid of all their players. I think out of that side, there was only probably 4, maybe 5 of us that were actually playing in the Sydney comp at that stage. All the rest
Yeah.
come from New Zealand.
That was one of the first videos I ever owned as a young fella when I
Yep.
started really getting into rugby league. I bought the 3 test series on video, the Winfield Cup videos. Do you remember
Oh
those?
yeah.
Mate, that was when I first saw the Dean Lonergan thing, and I was like, wow, how did New Zealand win that game? It was crazy. So good. So
I got no idea. I got no.
But you were captain, man. How special is it captaining your country, mate, man, and getting a win over Australia?
Mate, I think sometimes you get the captaincy because you've been there the longest. I think sometimes being captain it can actually deter from your game.
Okay.
Because there's people that are natural leaders with their actions. There's people that will do a lot of talking before a game, and there's some that don't. So Junior was he was more trying to he was more in control mode with Block and myself, and Bruce McGuire and all those crazies that were in the side. But I think as you get older, you get a bit wiser, and
Yeah.
when you get to that level, you really got to say less. The players know what to
Okay.
do, mate. You can't always be saying things. You just got to say less.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Very interesting. I suppose that, yeah, like you say, it's like even coaching at that level. Like the players are rep players. You don't
Yeah.
need to overcoach them for a big game. You
No.
need a game plan, essentially.
Yeah. You just need to fight. The interesting part is you can do all the stuff at training and all the rest of it, but when it comes to the game, you've got to react to what's happening straight away. I think
Yeah.
that's the biggest thing I've learned. And when I did a little bit of coaching, is sometimes when you first come into coaching, you're trying so hard to make everything right that you're actually making it worse because you're trying to tell them too much.
Okay.
Rugby league is a very simple game, mate. Run
Yeah.
hard, and chase the ball. Just kick down the other end.
Pretty
That's
easy,
it.
eh?
Yeah, pretty easy game.
What's
And
so
don't
hard
miss any
about it?
tackles.
Brilliant. So, what was it
Something like
like playing Great Britain? You had a 2 test series against Great Britain in 1992. You beat them 15-14 in Palmerston North in a real, like, brutal game, and you got man of the match as well. Do you remember playing in that game?
I remember taking the cameraman out. He lost his $100,000 camera, hit him in the back of the leg, and he fell over, and the camera smashed in half on me. But it was we should have won that series. Like, when you look back at some of those games, I made a decision to not kick the goal at Carlaw Park. I would have made it a draw. I went for the win,
Okay.
and then we dropped the next ball. So
Oops.
yeah, that didn't help us. So sometimes I thought they were ready to be broken, and so did the rest of the boys. But in the end, it falls on you who makes the decision. Like to go, okay, let's tap it and not go for the draw. Let's go for the win. But sometimes it backfires on you.
I guess it did that day. Yep.
Can we move on from that game?
Yep, moving on. Where did
Yeah.
the nickname Wiz come from? I'm dying to know.
Oh, mate, look, my nickname in New Zealand was Raffles. A lot of people would understand in New Zealand they run the little tow tickets and all that sort of stuff, and
Yep.
win some money and all that sort of things for your club. And I used to try and raffle off a pellet of beer and do that. And then when I got to Aussie, Block just when I first met him, he goes, "Oh, mate, you look like the Wiz that was here playing." I said, "Mate, no, I'm Raffles." He goes, "No, your name is Wiz." I went, "No, it's Raffles." He goes, "No, it's Wiz. That's what it is." And I looked at him. He's 6'4", weighing 115 kilos. Wiz it is.
We're going with Wiz.
I changed my name straight away, Wiz.
What a great story. Love it. Love it.
It's a true story, mate. I just went, and then when I go with the Kiwi lads, they all started calling me Raffles, and then they gave up and they started calling me Wiz too. So anyway, it's all good.
Oh, that's awesome. It's a great nickname, though. I love it. Love it.
Yeah,
you know, you had I collected rugby league cards like it.
Yeah.
I had them all. Trust me. They'd have like there was a series where it had the nicknames of the players on them in like 1995, and I had the Wiz. Like, yes, I finally got the Wiz. So good, so good. Oh, mate. Right, so 1992, you moved on from the Tigers, heading over to the Roosters.
Yep.
How did that all come about? Had you had enough at the Tigers, or was it a case of you were headhunted by the Roosters?
It's pretty common knowledge, mate. Alan Jones and I didn't see eye to eye. He'd come in to coach the Tigers in '91.
Okay.
I played the first 6 games, and then he wanted another player to play halfback. I didn't think he was the guy that was for the team, but he was the coach. And in the end, I made a decision at the end of the year. I actually just signed for another 4 years at the Tigers. A lot of people don't actually understand that. I didn't actually want to leave. I wanted to stay in one club. And so I'd signed 3 years and 4 years. So, and that was coming to my first year. And then I went to training and I went to see Keith Barnes. I said, "Look, mate, I thank you for everything you've done for me." I said, "But I got to move on." And I said, "Oh, look, keep the contract. I don't care. I'll just go." And then when I got home and I told my wife, and she said, "Well, where are you going?" I said, "Oh, I haven't got anywhere yet." She goes, "But you've left the club. You had 3 more years to go in your contract and you got nowhere to go." I said, "Yeah. Surely there'll be someone out there that wants me."
Good to see you thought it through.
Mate, that was reactive. It was pretty reactive. I'd had enough of the way he did things. And in the end, you got to be honest to yourself, mate. If you're not honest to yourself, if I could have stayed there and done another 4 years, got the reserve rate, no chance.
Yeah, you're better than that.
So I went and met Jack Gibson, Mark Murray, and Craig Salvatore. And the big fella Jack just said to me, he goes, "Mate, in all honesty," he said, "I don't want you." I said, "Oh, why is that?" Really? He said, "Mate, you're a liability. You make too many mistakes. You give away too many penalties. You're too fired up." And he said, "The only reason we're having a conversation is Craig Salvatore said, get you here." And I said, "Well, here's my word to you. You give me a shot and I will not let you down. That's all I can say." And I then went and got a personal trainer for weights and all that sort of stuff, a guy called George Nassimides. And I was in the gym and I was doing some weights one day, and this young guy walked past. He goes, "Mate, do you actually know what you're doing?" I went, "Yeah, of course I do." He goes, "Mate, you've got no idea." I thought I knew what I was doing. I was putting the weights up, dropping them virtually on my chest and caving it in. And then he said, "Let me train you for a week. Give me 2 weeks with you. And if I'm going all right, you keep paying me." And I said, "Okay, no worries. How much is the session?" He told me, and I said, "Rightio." Anyway, I think 2 weeks, I paid him for 2 weeks, and then 5 years later, I never paid another cent. We got on like mates, but he knew how and when to push me and all the rest of it, the weights. And it's the first time I've ever trained with a trainer that just focused on the power stuff. The 2 best seasons I had was 92, 93,
Absolutely. You picked up the Dally M, prestigious Dally M medal. Unbelievable, man. Like, how amazing that first Kiwi, I believe, to win a Dally M. That's incredible. Not many people could say they've won that.
Yeah, mate, look, I think there was a lot of Kiwis over here then were starting to filter through the competition and that. But that 92 season was pretty special, mate. I remember we played up in Brisbane in a trial match, and we should have beaten this side by 30. Anyway, they beat us by 30. I scored a try, walked off the field, and I went, "Geez, we're going to have a long season here." A long season. I tried the old Balmain stuff, like, we've got to do this, we've got to try this, we've got to make it nice and tough for them. And one of the boys just said, mate, listen, we're Eastern Suburbs, mate. Lattes, like short black coffees, blah, blah, blah. Just chill out. Season hasn't started. Jesus, hasn't started.
Like, I'm from Auckland.
32 points, mate. Anyway, we entered our first game and we just had our first child and he hardly slept. So I was just sitting there watching the reserve grade. My wife just turned around to me and we're playing St. George. She just turned around and said, you're going to get changed? I said, what do you mean? She said, well, there's 25 minutes before kickoff. I went, oh, I forgot. I was just watching I was in a daze. I was so tired. So I'll go downstairs and everyone's changed and they're all fired up. And I'm going to do this. I haven't even got my shirt on. So, mate, or Blake's going about strapping and all that. No strapping, no nothing, just a massage. Put my gear on, sitting there, and they're all getting fired up. I said, hey, calm down. Remember where the Roosters, lattes and all that sort of stuff? Just leave it. We'll be good. Just follow me and we'll all be good. And they went, oh, okay. And then everyone just sat down and just took it easy. It was the best season ever. It was so much fun. Craig Salvatore had a magnificent season until he headbutted someone. But if he'd stayed on the field, that process, we would have made we missed the top 5 by 2 points.
2 points.
2 points. I think we lost 5 games by 2 points.
Oh, mate, really should have snuck in there.
We should have played the semis that year. We got referee made a mistake. We called one of our players out, but he wasn't out. If you look at the big screen now, you can see. We looked at the big screen. I looked at the ref and said, mate, he's not even out, mate. You've made a mistake.
Oh, yeah.
Play on. That was the game. We won that game. That was against Western Suburbs. We beat them. We make the semis.
Really?
First time, I think, the Roosters would have made the semis. Mate, it would have been close to like 6 or 7 years.
Yeah. They had a bit of a lean trot before then, didn't they? Yeah. So it was kind of the same the next year as well. You guys just kind of missed again. So, and then you headed off to Penrith. So that's a bit sad, really, because the true story is that the Warriors were coming in '95, and I just agreed with the Roosters for '94 and an option in '95, and so that would leave me there. And then the Warriors chairman and president come to my house and sat down with me and showed me the jersey. So I knew 2 years previous. I never told anyone. He showed me the jersey, what it looked at, the name of the team, the whole works. So they said they wanted me to come back and be captain of the side. Makes sense.
I said, mate, I'd love to. So I went back to Jack and just said, look, I've got this great offer to go back and captain the first Warriors side. And he wouldn't budge. He wouldn't budge. Yeah, so he got a bit angry with it, and I shook his hand and everything like that. You know, people said, "Oh, you shook his hand." And I did, but mate, when you get an opportunity like that to go back and captain the Warriors, like to me, it was something prestigious and all the rest of it. So I said, if you don't want me to do that, I'll sign for the Roosters 94, 95. And then he wouldn't do that either. So there was no room to move in. And then 4 games to go, I said, well, I'm going to make a decision. I'm going to leave anyway. I can go to them and then have 2 seasons there and then maybe go to the Warriors then. And then that was Penrith. And then as soon as I said I was going to leave, they sacked me on the spot. And 4 games to go, they won the first game. And headlines, I think, were like, who needs Freeman or something like that. Yeah. Then they lost their 3 games in a row and missed the finals. We would have won it easy. We would have got there easy if I played. And that's not being big-headed. We should have won those games anyway.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So that you would have absolutely loved to have come back for the Warriors, because that would have made perfect sense. You know, it would.
You know, when you look at your time in rugby league, and I think when I went to Parramatta for that last year, and I played the Warriors, and I got sent off, and they played the song "Hit the Road, Jack." You know, there's 21,000 Kiwis cheering for me to be sent off, and I'm one of them. I'm going, I think it should be the other way around. But you know what? You in those games and those moments, you do things, and you know, everyone plays with a bit of passion. You know, if you don't, you shouldn't go out there, mate. You know.
Yeah, true. And so all during this going on as well, while we're on club footy, the Super League war came in, and you found yourself at Parramatta, but were you affected greatly through all that whole Super League carnage that happened?
Oh man, I was probably at the age where I was coming up to the end.
Yeah.
But I remember meeting all the blokes from Super League and all the rest of it, and where they wanted me to go, and at that stage of my career, I'm coming at the end, and where they wanted me to go and be full time wasn't worth it, mate.
Okay.
Job wise and all the rest of it.
Okay. So is that when Parramatta came in and you just because you went there
Yeah,
for one season to finish off?
yeah. I had an offer to go back to the Tigers, and I turned them down. I think I look back on my career there, and I probably should have gone back there because I love the joint. It's
Yeah.
really, really good place to play, good people. The junior was going to be the coach and all the rest of it, So I nearly played though. I went back there and helped and do some coaching. And I said, "Oh mate, let me play and I'll tell you what's wrong with your team." And the only reason I didn't play is I forgot my boots. So and,
Oh, really?
and I've got really, really tiny feet. So no one had a size 7 boot they could give me. They're all size 9s and 10s. So be like a clown running out there. So I never played, but I was actually just going to play. That's when junior went inside Craig Field.
Right. Oh, yes, that's true. Yeah, way back then. Jeez.
Yeah.
That was when he come over from Manly.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
I've
Oh,
done all the preseason training, every single.
yeah.
Yep. Everything.
Far out. Okay. So what was it like though when you got to Parramatta playing out your last season? Did you know that was your last year, and were you sort of okay with that?
Well, I knew it was my last year when Bryce was sent me a letter and said, "Don't come Monday." That was on the following
Okay.
year. So, yeah, I knew it was my last year then.
Okay. Dear John, don't come Monday.
Yeah. So nice to see you. Goodbye.
So how did you cope with it though when you'd finished up like playing club football? What do you go through as a player?
Oh, mate, that's an interesting question, mate, because I think I was lucky enough to get signed by Fox, and
Okay.
when my mum was alive, she rang me up. She goes, "Oh," said, "Have you put some weight on?" I said, "What do you mean?" She said, "On TV, you're looking really, really like a bit bigger than you were." So what are you saying I'm fat? She goes, yeah, that's what I'm saying. I said, "Oh, okay." I said, "No, I don't think I've put any weight on." But because I stopped training, I
Yeah,
probably put on, I don't know, 8 kilos. Easy.
but you still eat the same.
I was eating the same and drinking the same, but that was for sure. And then,
Yeah, exactly.
yeah, that's right. And then, so I made a conscious decision then that, like, start training again, going, with
Yep.
the daughter and going to the gym and all that sort of stuff. And it sort of
Yeah.
gets you back on the street. You've got to do something because it's so easy
Yeah.
to stop and do nothing. And then, but with work and the work that I do, with the restaurants you go to and all the rest of it, it is quite easy to maybe put on a few extra kilos here and there.
Yeah, it's not hard, man. If I didn't run, oh my God, I would be
Yeah,
big.
yeah. I just walk the dog now. That's enough.
Good enough for you. So, you played 45 tests. I'd love to talk about a couple more of your tours you went on. Great Britain and France, 1993. How amazing is it going over there playing at Wembley in front of a gazillion people with all the atmosphere and they actually they beat you guys on the tour, but like how good a side, were they? But you had a great side yourself. Like your forward pack, you had Johnny Lomax and Brent Stewart, Duane Mann,
Yeah.
Kearney, Pongia, Nico, like massive. So what was that experience like?
Oh, mate, look, if there's anything any player wants to do, you want to play at Old Trafford, you want to play at Wembley, you
Yep,
definitely wanted to play at Carwell Park back in the day, and
yep,
then the Sydney Football Stadium, those ones there, and of course Suncourt Stadium. If you look
yeah,
at any football player, it doesn't matter if it's English, French, Aussie, Kiwi lads, that's the pinnacle playing there. And playing at Wembley, like you remember, well, you get up and watch the Challenge Cup games, all that sort of stuff,
yeah,
and it was just 100,000 people,
yeah.
and you get an opportunity to go to that field. Mate, the day before the game, you're not allowed on the ground. The only
All
time you're
right.
on the ground is when you play.
Yep.
That's it. You are not. It's all roped off. Everything. Like you can't go on there. You can't kick balls. You can't do anything. You know.
All right.
And then you go to the changing rooms. The changing room, because I played in the old Wembley Stadium, they still had 11 bars all lined up there for the players that played soccer.
How good.
Yeah, mate. It
Yeah.
was. I just wish, when I was back then taking the photographs of the rooms and all that, it was just amazing to go there, mate. And the crowd was pretty good, but we didn't really play that well. We didn't play well at
Okay.
all. So, in those 3 tests, we lost all 3. So, which was pretty disappointing because we had a good enough side that should have gone a lot better. But it
Yeah.
just sometimes it's just not meant to be. So, yeah.
Yeah, well, I had Aaron Whitaker on. This is my second podcast I ever did doing this, and that was one of his, few test caps he got like over in the UK, and he just felt so disappointed in his performance, the whole team, because I think it was something like 29-10 or something was the score in
That
one of
was
the
at
games he
Leeds.
played in.
Leeds.
Yeah, he just said he was really disappointed in the match and didn't go to plan, that's for sure. Oh, and he said to say hello, by the way.
He's a good man, mate. He just lives down the road, and like I said, when he did take my spot, I grabbed him, had a bit of a chat to him, and said, "Look, this is what you're going to look for. This is what's going to happen. The game is probably 5 times faster than a normal game of footy.
Yeah,
Maybe even 10 times faster because you see things
far
that
out.
but they're there for a split second and then they're gone. So if you don't
Right.
take them, they're gone, sort of thing. So it's like anything. If you even watch the modern game now, that when guys make a break, and if you're not there to back up, you don't score. But if you're
No.
there, it's game over. So
Yeah.
it's just really giving them some confidence. I was disappointed that I got dropped for that game.
Yeah.
Um, I don't think or don't believe that the halfback was all the problem, or the hooker. So yeah, I'll leave it at that.
Okay, fair enough too. So moving along, so you actually you played the World Cup in 1995 was your final test match. It
Yep.
was against Papua New Guinea. So would you thought you would have got more games for that World Cup, or is it just a case of you're getting towards the end of your career and you're still happy being on the tour, that kind of thing?
Nah, mate. I actually said to them, I said, whatever you do, don't take me and don't play me. I've got family at home. I can do that. That's pretty easy. Um,
Okay.
and then when we got picked for that PNG one game, I think I got man of the match too. I'm not too sure now. Can't remember. I think I went pretty close, and then I got asked by one of the English reporters, and they said, "Oh, well, after that game, you think to be in the final?" I said, "I'd be disappointed I wasn't." Um, so I spoke to Frank on the Sunday, um, told me I was in the side, and then pulled me out on the Wednesday, which is really
Ouch.
disappointing. Yep.
Yeah, not the way you probably want to go out.
Not really,
To
mate, because I made a conscious decision to stop being captain and give it to Matthew Ridge. Um, that because he's going to be there a lot longer than I was, in the next like 5 years. So you've got
Yep.
to sort of try and pre-plan. Um, so that was probably the most disappointing part about that whole tour. I think there was 7 players on that tour who, up to that game, there was still 6 players who never played a game. You know,
Yeah.
and you got to
Yeah,
remember
I
that.
think like Brent Stewart, he was one. He was on that
Yep,
tour, didn't get a
yep,
game, and I think they made up a bunch of shirts called the Neville Nobodies or something
yep.
like that.
Yeah, I got mine.
Yeah.
Still got it.
Oh, really?
Yep,
Oh my
I'll
God.
send it to you. You can have it.
All right.
I don't think it fits me anymore.
I'll take
I
it,
think
mate. I'll take it.
I
I'll frame
think
it.
I think what happened was that after they told me I wasn't going to be in the side, I just said, "Well, I'm finished. I'm not training. I'm not playing." Because I thought in myself that I played well enough to hold my position, play against Australia. Um, Actually, Bozo jumped on the bus after the game, um, and just said to me, he said, "Mate, how you going?" I said, "Mate, yeah, I'm all right." No, I was disappointed. Don't get me wrong. He goes, "Mate, if you play today, we lose." So that
Really?
was coming from the opposition coach. Yeah.
Pretty high praise coming from Bob Fulton.
Yeah. And there was no need for him to even come on the bus. No need.
No.
And so that was pretty disappointing from a playing point of view. That'll be my third World Series I played it. So
Yep.
that was pretty disappointing.
Yeah, man. So, so looking back though, 45 tests, is there any standout moment for you that just stands out above the rest, from your
First
career?
one,
And
first one every day. First one
yeah,
every day, mate. Don't worry about the scoreline. just having that excitement, that build up.
Yep.
Just that first one is the one you look at and you go, that was pretty special. And then they end up play 44 more games
Yeah.
and tests. And that's not just
Yeah.
games that we played. Well, I think it's about 60 odd games or 70 games.
Yeah, but that's tests.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just test match. It was pretty good. So I think there's only I think Ruben Wiki that's beaten me.
That's it. I think it's 50, 51 maybe.
Yeah. Which you know what, and he's such a loyal bloke. He's such a loyal
Yeah.
bloke. Yeah, he's a good man, mate. Good man.
Absolutely, man. So, bit of post football. You did some commentary at the Super League Grand Final and that famous 1998 Anzac Test win. What's it like getting behind the mic and calling a New Zealand victory in such a big
Oh,
game?
so good, so good.
I bet you enjoyed that.
So good, mate. There was actually a reporter there that didn't really write really good things about me at all. Doesn't really actually know me. But anyway, I just said, mate, just try and write something nice, something positive
Yeah.
about the game and all the rest of it. And the boys played really, really well. Exciting games. Mate, to be involved after you finish, like I've done a bit of coaching and all that sort of stuff too, but doing the Fox work and doing test matches where you see the game and how it's progressed and changed, it is fantastic, mate. But yeah, that's why, like I said at the start of the conversation, we talked about the state of origin, to be there, 90-odd thousand people. This place is a buzz. Test matches,
Okay.
City Football Stadium. It's just good. It's just something.
Yeah.
I don't think it ever goes away from you, but in your heart, it's like your blood's pumping, and you go, "Come on, boys, win this game. It'd be good."
Yeah. Yeah, man. And you said you got into coaching and you did coach the Kiwis for a little bit there. What's it like? You played for the Kiwis and then you go and coach the Kiwis. And is that a great, I mean, I know it probably didn't go as well as you would have liked, but it still must be something you can look back on and say, you know what, I got to coach the national side that I got to play, and that must be pretty special.
Yeah. A lot of people forget that when I first took the Kiwis over, they just got beaten by Australia 52-0.
Yeah.
Olympic Stadium. So the team that game was probably that was pretty disappointing for the players. So then when I did take over that, I think I made 7 changes straight away and put a lot of young guys in. Just had to make some changes with the guys that were playing. So 2 years with them, really only lost to Great Britain once and Aussie twice, but there's not many teams that have gone through and beaten Aussie like 3 or 4 times in a row either. But we had the scoreline, 24-12, and then the other one, I think it was 28-22 or something like that. And we were leading at half time too, the second game, which we should have won, but we made a couple of mistakes there too. But yeah, but look, all in all, mate, the coaching country is fantastic. You learn that you've got to have allies.
Yes.
And if you don't, you don't coach much more.
Okay, right, we'll leave it at that. So to finish off also, in 2007, you're inducted into the New Zealand Rugby League's Legends of League Hall of Fame, also named as Auckland Rugby League Immortal. I mean, mate, the honours don't come much higher than that, New Zealand Rugby League. That has to be great, to be remembered as, well, for me, like one of the greatest players we've ever seen.
Mate, I think I was lucky I come up in a really good era too of the game. And what was expected from the halfbacks or the way that you played, and then to be inducted into the Hall of Fame and then Immortal and all that sort of stuff is fantastic. There's a lot of players that have gone before me, and there's a lot of players that will come after me too. So if you're lucky enough to get that reward, it's fantastic. It's great recognition that you did your best. I still remember the first couple of times I did some TV stuff in New Zealand, playing for New Zealand, and I dressed up in a skirt and all this other stuff, and just trying to put the name of rugby league out there that we weren't, we had a pretty good side and we could do things that are different. And it's proven now, the more and more Kiwi players we get in the competition, the better off we are.
Absolutely, man. Oh, mate, it's just so good to chew through all the good stories of your career. And I want to finish off with 3 fun questions, which I ask everybody. So who do you actually support in the NRL, and who do you think will win the comp this year?
Who do I support? I still like watching the Tigers, but Melbourne, since my son played there, I'd probably say Melbourne's number one for me so far.
Okay. Yep.
What's the other one?
So who do you think will win the grand final this year?
Oh, well, I went out on a limb here. I picked Melbourne versus Canterbury in the grand final. So, mate, I don't know if you should be following those picks.
Mate, I think they'd be paying about 80,000 to 1.
Yeah. The one thing that the Canterbury side have got, they've fixed up their defence. They've fixed
a lot better.
Yeah, so I think, and on their day, if Kickow is fully fit and plays, and other good young kids, they're a side I'd have a little flutter on.
Yeah, I think that for me, I think they're about one big name prop short.
Yeah.
You know, like they just think they got Max King's great. That Stephen, is it Stephen Hughes or whatever his name is?
Yeah,
he comes off. He's a beast.
He's a monster.
He'll be great.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, look. Anything could happen in this game. I thought Brisbane would be making it too, but and then they've got 3 weeks of three games of state of origin. They'll come back this weekend. Someone won't play, but if they lose a couple more games, then they start to lose touch with the top 8, and then it's a scramble to get there. But mate, even the South just winning the last 3 weeks, they can make the 8. You know, it's mate. It's going to come down to the last round. Who gets that?
Great, isn't it?
It's going to be crazy. Yeah.
Right. Okay. What is your favorite TV show or series of all time?
When I was a kid, Lost in Space.
Oh,
never fear, Smith is here.
Oh my God, that's a great answer.
Morty, danger approaching.
Oh, finally, someone said Lost in Space. I love it. Everyone says Seinfeld, but no, that's a great answer. Loving it. Okay, man, last question. Yeah. If you could only eat one meal for the rest of your life, what would it be?
One meal. A roast dinner on a Sunday night. Roast potatoes, lamb, of course, coming from New Zealand. No peas. No peas at all. I hate peas. Hate them. So I can't do any ads for peas. I can't eat them. I could eat 20 roast potatoes easy. And roast. Yeah, that'll do. Just give me that any day of the week.
Brilliant, man. Well, you met my wife Tracy in the Gold Coast. Her favourite food on earth is potatoes, man. She will eat that every freaking day.
Roast potatoes, though. You know, you used to put the be in the fat in the bottom and put them all in that. Yeah.
Mate, we go through that many potatoes here in the air fryer. It's not funny, honestly. We live on potatoes. It's great.
Yes.
Oh, brilliant, man. Well, thank you so much for giving me your time, and it's been fantastic to finally get hold of you.
It's taken a bit of time, and to all the people out there that follow the game of rugby league, I'd like to thank them for their support over the years when I was playing, and even when I was doing Fox Sports. It's been fantastic, and keep supporting the Warriors because I think they're on to something special. They're starting to come back, and they didn't have their best game on the weekend, but I'm sure they'll bounce back. That's for sure. All right, see you, buddy.
Awesome, man. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you all next time for kickoff.
Don't forget that roast dinner.
Full time.